Hi everyone, this is daveac and this is my vblog 169 for Friday the 14th of October 2011, and slightly different podcast today, but it will be around 15 minutes and there will be a wine at the end. Yes, I won't be doing any DVDs or books or music today because it's sort of tech, wine, tech, wine. Oh, sounds like quick slow, doesn't it? Tech, wine, tech, wine. Now, I'll explain all that in a minute, but just before that, there is some podcasting news I always like to start with. I'm just going to talk about one podcast mainly today, and that is the Cult and Collective one that I do with Ian the Sixth Doctor, and of course on the commentaries with Mike Randall-Thor. Well, the Sunday that's just gone, that was the 9th of October, we covered our final review of a series of Torchwood, The Miracle Day. I say final because we did a mid-season review earlier on, so I hope you will give that a listen. It's up on the TalkShoe feeds now. That's TalkShoe ID 54821. Of course, it's also on iTunes, and of course it's on our Facebook page, the Cult and Collective page there, and on a number of other sites. Now, midweek, we put up another one of our commentaries. It was again a Doctor Who commentary, but it was from Series 4, and it was part 2 of a two-part story, Forest of the Dead. Now, this is by way of bookmarking what might be most of the story of Riversong. Way back, we did the first part of the story, Silence in the Library, where the 10th Doctor meets Riversong for the first time. And of course, in this particular story, Forest of the Dead, it appears as though it's the end of the line, in a way, for Riversong in Forest of the Dead. So we've used that to bookend the story, although there's so much still to be said about Riversong. Where did she get the sonic screwdriver? How did she find out the Doctor's name? I'm sure we haven't seen the last of her. So that's that. This coming Sunday, that's Sunday the 16th of October, we will be doing Doctor Who Series 6 review. Hope you will join us for that. Remember, at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Oh, and an early warning, the week after, a week on Sunday, we will be doing a review of the shortened final series of the Sarah Jane Adventures. So that means 3 Sundays on the run, we will have been doing series reviews. A Torchwood review, Doctor Who review, going on to Sarah Jane review. Okay, I hope you give those a listen. Well, I haven't got these other things today because there's been an awful lot of tech updates, especially here in the UK. So I'm going to have to refer to my notes. I'm going to talk a little bit quickly and get through them, and then hopefully we'll have 2-3 minutes to enjoy, well, for me to enjoy the wine at the end. Okay, in the order I've got them down here. Again, PlayStation 3 in the UK and possibly in other countries around the world had another software update. I'm now up to version 3.72, so be aware of that. If you're in the UK and have a Humax FreeSat box, there was been a slight glitch on that. This is for getting programs over the satellite dish, but it's mainly for programs or channels that are, you don't pay for them, they are free to watch, FreeSat. And there's been a slight software glitch that means that when you've put the guide up so that you can actually set, because mine has a hard disk in it, 250 gig hard drive in it, so you can actually record as well. Before you can actually mark things to record, you had to wait about 1.5–2 minutes for it to download the whole guide. Anyway, they've put a new fix. The latest software is it's 1.00.7. So this is supposed to have solved that glitch. Hopefully it will have. So that's for people in the UK that use the Humax FreeSat box. BBC iPlayer, well, I had to take a bit of a step back from that. I had all sorts of problems with it when Adobe Air, which is one of these sort of flash-based enabling programs, was updated to version 3, suddenly my BBC player, which I use to catch up TV on my computer, would not load. And I've managed to sort that back by rolling it back to, I found a site called Old Software, I think. I haven't got the link to hand. Just put that in Google, and I've rolled back Adobe Air to 2.7. So in the UK, if you're having trouble with your BBC desktop player, put into Google Adobe Air version 2.7, and then delete the 3 version and install that, and it should be working properly again. Facebook, that's had a glitch for the last week or so. I've found I've been putting, for instance, on the Cult and Collective fan page on Facebook, I've been saying that where we put MPEG-3s so that people can normally click on the Facebook page and listen to our podcast directly on the Facebook page, it has been getting an error message coming up. Well, it looks as though that has been sorted now. So Facebook, the MPEG, built-in MPEG-3 viewer is now working again. Great news, because I was having to put people, please subscribe to the Cult and Collective on iTunes if you're having trouble here on Facebook. Also the same with the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance page as well. So that is working. AVG on my computer, that's had a big update today, and I mean a big update, not just an update of the sort of data files. It seems to be a new version of AVG. 67 megabyte download that was. And 2 more. One is that I always watch a program in the UK on the BBC News channel called Blink. Brilliant program about computers. I think it might be region locked if you're outside the UK. But it always ends with Kate Russell on Webscape, and not the Saturday that's just gone, but the Saturday before, they had a smashing little program, and it's called Sendoid. In actual fact, the site is sendoid.com. That's SENDOID. And what that allows you to do is peer-to-peer file transfer. That means that if you open a web page, there's no signing up, you don't need to join. You can, by linking that to a page, I think you send an email to your friend to access the page that you have opened, and the file that you're transmitting from you to them doesn't go through the Sendoid service. It goes directly peer-to-peer from your computer to the other person's computer, and it should travel very fast indeed, and you can do that for free for files up to 1 gigabyte in size. If you want to do bigger files than that, then I think you do have to actually join and sign up. But unless you're using something like Dropbox, this sounds, because with Dropbox, you have to upload it and then the other person downloads it. This is a peer-to-peer file transfer, should be faster. Okay, I've got one more thing, and this is more for people in other countries, but the launch I'm talking about is the UK launch, and that is of On Game. Now, this is a new, let me get the right page up here. I'm not going to move my camera today. It's www.onlive.co.uk, and OnLive is one word. And this is trying to do for games what Netflix has done for movies. In other words, with Netflix, instead of now sending for the DVDs, although you can still do that, and Blu-rays, you actually stream the movies to your computer for an individual fee or for a monthly fee or so on. Well, OnLive is going to be doing that the same for games. But the advantage of this is that even if you have a modestly equipped PC, the processing for the actual game itself is done on their servers. So it should mean that you can play quite high quality games without having to buy new hardware. Now, there is a hardware option as well, but I'm just going to play a little bit of their spiel. This is a video, but I'll just let you hear the audio. Let's go back to the beginning of it.
A way to play the hottest games anywhere. With OnLive, you can play games instantly on your HD TV, PC or Mac, and even on mobile devices like iPad and Android tablets. Just sign up free at onlive.co.uk and download the OnLive app. Demo any game free with no credit card and no commitment required. Or check out one of OnLive's many flexible purchase options. You can rent a game, purchase a full play pass, or try the Play Pack bundle to access a huge collection of amazing games such as Homefront and Fear 3 multiplayer for just one.
Right, I think that's quite enough of that. I mean, that starts at $3.99, then it goes up to $6.99, and I think it's about £35 if you want the full bundle. But you can actually try games for free, and it's not just like one of these where you can only try one level. I think the trial allows you to play it for half an hour. Now, one thing to remember, if you do purchase games, you don't actually purchase them because what you are purchasing is the right to access those games as much as you want. So that's it. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know a little bit more about it, go to AV Forums, avforums.co.uk, and go to their video tab at the top, and you'll see that they've got a latest review video of that, and they were quite impressed. As long as you have a speed, an internet connection of at least 3 megabyte download, but they advise at least 5 megabyte download speed, you will find that the service works really well. Only one thing that they warn about, of course, is that if you have data limits set by your ISP, you could run up against those data limits fairly quickly. And of course, there's lots of other things. You can share chat as well while you're playing the games. And there's a feature called Arena, where if you don't want to play, you can actually watch other people play, and you can observe their games and maybe, I think, comment on them as well. And there's also some sort of way you can video sections of the game, for highlights. So it sounds really like the next step, like, as I said, what Netflix seems to have done for watching movies by streaming them. This is basically streaming a game that you can actually participate and play in without having to have the latest hardware. Well, I think that's a bit of enough advert for them, don't you? Right, a couple of wine things. Before I get to the wine I'm going to drink, and we're already up to 12.5 minutes. Let me tell you, in fact, two stories about wine. One is a nice little site that I mentioned on my latest episode 7 of the Big and Fruity podcast. I do that every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That equates to 10 p.m. here in the UK every Tuesday evening. And the last one, episode 7, was talking about wine labels. So you can find that on iTunes, or you can check out my Big and Fruity Twitter account, or in actual fact I've got a TwitPic account now for that, where I put up a picture each week of the wine I'm drinking during the show, and that is twitpic.com/photos/Big and Fruity. Well, one of the things that I mentioned that I'd found is quite a nice site for people, again in the UK, who buy their wine from the supermarket. And it's called Supermarket Wine. The site URL is www.supermarketwine, or one word, .com. And it's got all the main all the main supermarkets in the UK, Asda, Co-op, Morrison's, Sainsbury's and so on, Tesco's and that. And it will tell you of any special offers of wine where you might make a saving or where there's a promotion on. So really quite a good little place to look. And it also recommends wines. It will be a good, it has wines on offer, news this week, top 10 rated wines and recent comments. So that's www.supermarketwine.com. And while we're in a wine mood, yes, I'm getting thirsty as the minute, let me just say that this weekend it has just launched the European Wine Bloggers Conference. This is an annual event for all the people. There's thousands of wine blog accounts. In fact, one of the Big and Fruity podcasts I did was talking about wine blogs. But this is the Wine Bloggers Conference. It's meeting now for the 14th, 15th and 16th in Italy. And let me see if I can pronounce the name right. It's Franciacorta. I'll have to spell it out. It's Francia, then Corta, Corta, all one word, Francia Corta, Italy, from the 14th to the 16th. Put winebloggersconference.org into Google. In fact, it's winebloggersconference.org/Europe. And it will tell you about all the events going on there. And it really is, and there's some little videos you can watch. It really is a must know about event for people who are interested in wine and people who blog about wine. So I think it's time I had a little sip of wine, don't you? And here's the wine I've got. There we are. I'm going to pronounce that name in a moment, but I'm going to see if I can get focused on the back. Freeze frame. It's a wine from Chile, 13.5%. The grape variety is Shiraz. Let's see if I can pronounce this name. It's Ana Ucia, I think. Ana Ucia. ANANUCA. 2010 from Chile. And I've got it poured out, and I've been getting some lovely fruity aromas coming across. It's had plenty of time to warm up. It's actually a reasonably warm evening here in the UK. So, yeah, and we're getting tons of blackcurrant coming out of that. That's the predominant, yeah, real black foresty fruit. Now, that actually is very, very nice fruit. There's just a little, not a tart edge, almost a slightly metallic, slightly metally edge. Not metally, that's the wrong word. Let me have another taste. That starts off very smooth, but it gets just a little bit harsh there. Maybe it's not quite warmed up enough. I've got in a little bit of vanilla, not so much oak. Let me tell you what it says on the back, or you could have freeze framed. The fruity aromas of this wine blend perfectly with the flavours of blackberries, raspberries, and spice with a hint of vanilla oak. Well, that's mostly correct. I didn't really get the spice. I actually got a slightly yeah, it's just a not a tang, that's the wrong word, but just a slightly rough. It's not smooth finish. It starts off very nice, but it's a slight clash at the end. It's a modestly priced wine. It's £5.40. That's what coming for I suppose it'd be $8 in the States. But reasonably nice. I think it's just not quite blending quite to my taste. David, it's nearly 19 minutes. We'll have to end there. So this is daveac vblog 169. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you next week. Bye all.